Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Seth with SethPerler.com, and I want to say thank you to you, teachers, for proctoring these standardized tests. Here in Colorado, it is standardized test time, and my students are, a lot of them have opted out, and a lot of them have not, and are in the midst of taking their standardized tests. And I just want to say thank you to the teachers for proctoring them, because you can't, in your job, you can't just say, hey, I don't agree with standardized tests. I don't want to proctor this. I don't believe in this. I don't believe these are good for kids, so I'm not going to do it. Because you will get non-renewed, or you will get fired, or you will get shamed, or you will have consequences as a teacher that are not good. So, you can't tell, I hate standardized tests. I think they're bad for kids. I'll share some of the reasons with you. I have a lot of reasons that I believe they are the wrong thing to do. Before I even start that, here's what you're going to hear. You're going to hear teachers or administrators or parents or people who are going to use the argument, we need to get our kids to take the tests because it hurts the school if we don't. Well, first of all, the fact that if too many kids opt out, I don't think it's as much this way right now as it was a couple of years ago, but the fact that you even have to worry about making a choice about your child's education and about opting them out and that hurting the school is disgusting to me. The fact that that's even an option, that if you do not comply, that hurts a school, is disgusting. It's deplorable. It's not okay. Not right, it's immoral, okay? Some of the things our schools do, in my opinion, are immoral. It's not okay, it's not cool. But anyhow, back to why I do not agree with the standardized test. First of all, the people who design them make them and profit off of them. The people who profit are massive corporations. Really, the people at the top of these massive corporations are the people who profit. All of the employees that trickle down from them, I mean, they make whatever wages they make, but a few key people make a ton of money. So their interest is in profit, not in kids. So that's part of it. Secondly, how teachers are pressured. Teachers get so much pressure about tests, about how their scores are, about all this stuff, that it forces them to change their focus from being focused on what do kids need, how can I create the most engaging, powerful, fun, interesting curriculum possible to help these kids launch their life, to focusing on how can I get my kids to get the scores that they need to get, okay? So it shifts the focus off of what we need to focus on and onto data, okay? Also for teachers, there's a lot of pressure where it interferes with two main things with them, but also tons of other things, but it interferes with their time. So there's about 3 weeks taken for most standardized tests in Colorado. That's 3 weeks of instructional time that are pretty much destroyed. Those days are pretty useless. So it interferes with their time. It also interferes with their time in terms of prepping for the test. So rather than focusing on what do my kids need, how can I make the coolest curriculum ever for my kids this year, they're focused on how can they do well on the test. So not only does it affect their time during when the tests are taken, but their precious class time in teaching them is directed towards how they're going to perform on the test. So curriculum is designed so that the performance on the test shows that they taught them what's basically going to be on the test. It's called teaching to the test. Now, it also interferes with the teacher's creativity, because school systems will purchase massive curriculum, and they will pay a lot of money for this curriculum that's supposed to have the result of giving them certain scores on the test. Well, that crushes creativity of teachers, because then teachers are told, we're using this curriculum this year, and in 3 years we're going to change it, but right now this is the end-all be-all curriculum, and this is the best, and we've just spent $700,000 on this curriculum, and here it is. I want every teacher in the school, every teacher in the district to use this curriculum. We're going to give this to our kids. Basically, it teaches sort of a regurgitation mindset of how do we teach this curriculum and how do we get them to comply and not think for themselves, not be creative, but how do we get kids to show through the assessments designed by this curriculum that they're being, quote, successful. Okay, So is success really regurgitating what the curriculum are teaching? Well, in this paradigm where we're so dependent on data, a lot of it is. So again, teachers are pressured to change their focus off of the kids and onto the data. It interferes with teachers' time, and it interferes with the teacher's ability to be creative and create amazing curriculum that they're inspired to teach, that's fun, that's interesting. Teachers aren't even ever encouraged to be creative with curriculum, really. It's very rare. Now, how does this affect kids? So first of all, you got these massive corporations, they're profiting. Then you have these teachers, they're having a lot of pressure and they're being interfered with. Now you have the kids. Well, to me, what happens with the kids and how we're not serving kids is that, first of all, we're shifting their focus. So we're telling kids, this is what's important. Kids are growing up learning, oh, this is what's important. I'm being judged by this. This is the world that they're growing up into. That really affects their mindset and how they approach growing up. Okay, so I see kids all the time that come into my office and we're working, and they're not inspired to do their homework or their projects or their tests or their papers or whatever they're working on. They're just doing it to get it over with. That's a shame. That's really doing them a disservice. They're not inspired. They're not able to have free time at night a lot of times because they're spending so much time on homework. They're not allowed to have family time because they're spending so much time doing homework, and our culture doesn't encourage family time. They're not encouraged to eat. I mean, even meals are rushed, and I mean, they're spending so much time trying to comply with the system, trying to do homework just to get it done, not because they see value in it. Again, that's a shame. They're just trying to get the work done. Rather than having their night to themselves and their friends and their families, they're still working on schoolwork even though it's after school. Kids are also taught not to be creative through these tests. They're taught to answer the questions the right way. I mean, when I'm working with kids and teaching them how to write essays for like ACT and SAT and college essays, I'm literally having the conversation with them. This is not how you write as a real human being. You need to fit in the box for this so that they perceive you the way you want to be perceived. Like, you have to play the game with this. It's absolutely insane. So I'm telling them that. Now I'm having an honest dialogue with them, and this is not how I would teach a kid to write, but I'm telling them they need to know how to write in the box of the SAT or whatever standardized tests or college admissions essays and all this stuff. It's horrible. Like, that is not creativity. That is not from the heart. That is not what I want our kids to learn. I think this stuff really shortchanges kids. It also, standardized tests really affect them emotionally. These kids are getting anxiety and stress, and it's all about, like, are you enough? And these tests say, we are measuring you. We're going to tell you if you're good enough, if you're smart enough, yada, yada. And these kids are hearing the message loud and clear. And they often don't even get, like in the case of most of our tests, they don't even get the results until months later. Not only do they not even get the results until months later, the results don't even tell them specifics about how they performed. So it's a useless assessment for them. Now, who is it useful for? Massive corporations, curriculum manufacturers, textbook manufacturers, colleges who are using this stuff for admissions, and the college is a business, so there's profit there. So these things are being used to judge our kids, and our kids are emotionally like, oh my gosh, am I enough? And then the numbers tell you, yeah, you're enough or you're not enough. What's the kid going to do if they're not enough according to the numbers? Well, a lot of them internalize it. A lot of them learn to resent learning, resent school, and there are really far-reaching consequences. Anyhow, that like scratches the surface barely about why I am so opposed to this. I just think it's a disgusting way that we are so indoctrinated in that we don't even question it. And there are consequences for teachers if they don't do it. And it's just, this is something that has to change. And I wish I could do more about it, but hopefully this video, at least, I can share some ideas with you, and more people can share ideas about this stuff. And we can start thinking differently about how can we create assessments and learning experiences for kids that are meaningful, that are powerful, that are exciting, that are engaging, and that assess things that we really care about, like their growth in their learning, in their interests, in their passions, in their gifts, in their talents, in their uniqueness, things that are actually going to help them to do what school is designed to do, which is to help a child launch into their future so that they can have a successful future utilizing their strengths to build a great life. Pretty simple, the purpose of education as far as I'm concerned, to help them launch into a great future. How are these tests doing that? In my opinion, horribly. Are there other ways to do it? Yes. There are many, 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 many ways. It's just that they're not giving us pretty data points and they're not going to fill the pockets of massive corporations. Is that okay? As far as I'm concerned, it is. So let's take a look at how we can do things differently. And I think the ultimate question is what we're doing helping a child launch a great future? If it is not, then it shouldn't be done. It needs to be relooked at. If it is, then it should be done, and or it should be refined and perfected and built upon. All right, have a great day.